Welcome back, students. Today we take up lesson number 6, chapter 9 in the subject of auditing. Our topic is communications. This lesson provides the framework for communications from the audit team to the audit committee. Typically, this committee is a group of 3 to 5 members of the board of directors who are not employees of the firm. We will cover 4 issues with regard to communication with the audit committee. First, item A, function of the audit committee includes independence and oversight. It's important that the audit committee be independent of the firm. That's why we bring in outside board members to guide, direct the strategy of any given corporation. Item B, objective communication to both improve and enhance that communication. Item C, timing and form. This section includes a message on significant deficiencies and disagreements with management, how those should be recorded. And finally, the 3 types of communication regarding internal controls. They would be: first, control deficiency; second, significant deficiency; and last of all, material weakness. There then follows a discussion of indications of material weakness, including both qualitative and quantitative factors. This section also covers consideration of the existence of compensating controls that can mitigate a control weakness, meaning that if the system isn't designed according to standard policies, there still can be a system design that achieves the desired effect. Preventative and detective controls are also reviewed in this section. Separate reporting is optional with material weakness and significant deficiencies reports. That is, they do not have to be included in the primary reporting. It does recommend that they be written reports, but again, this is not always necessary. Note that the auditor is not obligated to search for significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. Furthermore, when discovered, the auditor is not required to make recommendations for corrective follow-up, merely to note that they have been discovered and exist. On page 91, we have a sample report to the audit committee. The wording reflects most of the issues discussed in the preceding pages of the chapter. An alternative paragraph is provided to cover 2 possible cases: finding and not finding a material weakness in the internal controls of the firm. The last topic deals with communications to the committee excluding internal controls. So up until now, we've been discussing internal controls with the audit committee. What about other issues? This section includes 12 issues that should be documented in the auditor's report. The last of these covers the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Sarbanes-Oxley requirements that go significantly beyond determining whether the financial statements reflect a generally accepted accounting procedures. Recall, Sarbanes-Oxley was passed in 2002 in response to widespread fraud, so the corrective countermeasures are fairly extensive. Please read this section carefully. Questions appear on section 9.1 that deal with the content of the independent practitioner's report. Questions in section 9.2 deal with communications with those charged with governance of the firm, namely the audit committee. And question page 9.3 covers 3 miscellaneous issues. All three of these can be considered as true-false question lists, and the objective is to determine true or false, which ones apply and which don't. Section 9.4 has a slightly different set of questions. Each of the statements made, and there are a dozen or so, should be categorized as either a significant deficiency or a material weakness. Again, go back to the definition earlier in the chapter to see the distinction between these two. Also, each of these items should be labeled as either a design deficiency or an operating deficiency. This concludes the discussion of communication with those charged with the governance of the firm. Next week, we study sampling, and our last week introduces error and fraud. Congratulations, you have almost completed a truly rigorous examination of auditing practices. Although we did not completely exhaust the relevant issues, we did cover the most significant parts of the auditing process. The practice of audit is also a matter of on-the-job experience too. In the follow-up class, we will further explore some old, some new topics that will add greatly to your understanding of the audit business. I am highly confident that all of you will be able to move on to a beginning position with an auditing firm upon the completion of your coursework, though probably most of you will do something entirely different. That is just the way it is with college classes. We prepare for one thing, wind up doing another. Now is the time to push through to the finish while you're having success in your studies. I wish you all a successful grade and a successful conclusion to the class. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.